You know, I spent so much time glossing over Mickey Mouse so much in the previous video that I totally blanked out all the other characters in the classic Disney cartoon lineup that we've all come to know and love over the years. So, I felt that it would be fair to look at the parallel character to Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. I mean, they both share the same sailor outfit, so it's clear that they're both the frontrunners, right?
Donald Duck is my favourite Disney character because I find him the most relatable. Things don't go his way, he gets so angry, and much like me, he has anger problems. It's not a positive, but I totally resonate with this ill-tempered American pekin. His adventures are pretty funny too. I would show you clips of some of my favourite moments, but because Disney's so tight with copyright laws, I can't do that. But it's okay, because the essence of Donald Duck can still be captured in the game we're going to be looking at today. QUACKSHOT.
So without any stalling, I think we should go start up the Mega Drive. I mean, the multi-cart from last time is still in the console, so yeah. This time around, let's wrap our brains around QUACKSHOT.
I'll get right into the story, as that's the first thing that we're presented with after the menu screen. The very green, ugly coloured menu screen. I'm sorry, it's just so in your face. Donald is at his Uncle Scrooge's house when he discovers a book about an ancient legend known as the Treasure of King Garuzia and the secret island it's buried in. This excites Donald so much that he ditches his date with Daisy to hunt this treasure with his triplet nephews. So one thing's for sure, Donald ain't no simp! Hot on his tail, however, is the evil Pete and his henchmen who follow him around the whole area trying to slow him down so they can steal the book and take the treasure for themselves. This time around, there's a lot more guts to the story of this game. We're presented with a real dialogue, and there's also dialogue in the game from the characters which makes the story more immersive, and we also get dilemma, the journey, resolution, and you feel more invested, which is nice. Different twists and turns as well. With Castle of Illusion, the original story, while short, did enough to explain to you the dilemma leading up to the eventual conclusion of the story, whereas with QUACKSHOT, we get more than just a dilemma to overcome, we get more of a journey through storytelling, which has always been one of Disney's strong points. But now, all of the positives that I've spoken about with the story will start to slow down as I get into the gameplay, because, well, So on a base level, the gameplay is fine. It's not a traditional side-scrolling platformer where you go left to right, unlike Castle of Illusion, Super Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, all that jazz. It presents itself as a type of adventure game where exploration is encouraged and even demanded to help you get to the right places, find secrets, and to get you to your eventual goal. It's a really inventive way of using a beloved character to present a challenge to a younger audience. But, without sounding nitpicky, how in the name of all that is holy is a child supposed to play this? This game, although not completely frustrating 100% of the time, is very tough, even for someone like me. Where I managed to scrape by and just about get to the end goal, I can imagine my younger self hating not being able to play this how the game wants me to.
You know, I don't actually remember myself playing very much of this game as a child, probably because I would get stuck from level to level, not knowing what I was supposed to do.
Maybe that's partly my fault for not having the best frame of mind going into these types of games, but even now, knowing what I know about the game, I still can't navigate this game as elegantly as Castle of Illusion, and maybe that's why I like that game more. There's loads of awkward enemy placements, sections where you have to try and stay on slopes in between awkward fire areas, and very frustrating platforming sections where you have to think outside the box way more than I was expecting. Or in some cases, you don't have to think outside the box as much as you would hope it would. In one way, this is presenting a challenge, but on the other hand, I can't see a standard child being able to play this on their first try. If I couldn't, could they? There will have to be some game overs here and there.
But no matter! We soldier on regardless because we are gamers. Therefore we are warriors!
Barely.
For combat, you have 3 different weapons, which you can get or upgrade at different stages of the game. You have the plunger shooter, the popcorn gun, and the bubblegum gun. Bubblegum gun, bubblegum gun. You just can't say it 3 times fast. The plunger shooter, when shot, stops enemies in their tracks for a brief moment of time, and makes some of them drop items, whether it be cash for your score, hats which give you an extra life, or food for health. Quick! Quick! Get the ice cream! Get the... Oh. Oh, it fell down. Why? I wanted the ice cream. It's not fair. Ice cream gives you a point of health, whereas poultry maxes out your health. What the fuck? A full roast poultry? This feels very much like cannibalism. I don't think this is in the spirit of Disney cards. Oh. Never mind. Anyway, the popcorn gun shoots popcorn in a cluster in front of you to take down enemies or fight the boss, but you use it at least 5 at a time, so use these conservatively if you can. The bubblegum gun, which you get from Gyro, shoots bubbles that destroy walls and obstacles in your way. That's kind of boss, not gonna lie. The main thing I find is to work out through trial and error which item is the best gun to use when.
Oh no. No, it can't be. He's spying on me!
What do you want from me, mouse? Just leave me alone and let me play this game in peace.
What? No, that's impossible.
He's interfering with my game to stop me from criticizing it harshly.
Powers that be! Why do you do this? Answer me, cowards!
I want cheesecake.
That's better. Sorry about that, everyone. I went off the rails again.
Well, looks like my Mega Drive is completely frozen. This is very common with retro games. Sometimes the cartridge freezes, sometimes the console isn't up to snuff. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to recover the place that I was with in the game at the moment.
And there's no way for me to access the other levels. So... this means that... and I'm very ashamed of this, but... I have to complete this game with an emulator!
So I guess we get one loaded up then, yeah? As for accessing these different levels, that's relatively unique. When you start the game, you're first presented with a map, and already there are 3 places you can go to. Now, we've already left Duckburg, so it's only natural we head to Mexico. After that, we can go to Transylvania. Once we go to Transylvania, beat Dracula and retrieve some more information, we can go to 4 new places. We can go to Egypt, the South Pole, the Maharaja, and a Viking ship. And here's where one of the main annoyances of this game comes to light. Backtracking. Because in order to advance, you need specific items to open doors, access out of reach areas, and to advance in the game in general. Thankfully, you're told where exactly to find these items by the different characters, so naturally, we just head to that place, and as promised, our item is waiting at the end of the level. For example, in Mexico, we need a key, so we go back to Duckburg as we're told, go through the level, eat 5 chili peppers to raise Donald's temper level, talk to an adventurer, get the key, fly back to Mexico. How much plane fuel is being wasted with all this back and forward? Open a pyramid, and finally we can advance. Inside, we find Goofy, who hands us some information we need for later, as well as an upgrade to our plunger shooter, which shoots red plungers. Wow, I'm so impressed. Oh, you can use them to get to higher places. Wow, I'm impressed. Later on, you acquire the green plunger, which lets you cling to birds to do these flying segments, which, might I say, are incredibly tight to do right, so make sure you practice or do a good enough job, otherwise you'll end up game overing like I did. At least I get to continue, so it's not totally unfair. These plungers are totally limitless, by the way. So, how does he hold on to all of them? You know what, I don't even think I want to know that. After exploring the South Pole, Pete will take Donald's nephews hostage in order to obtain the map, so we have to follow him to his secret hideout to beat him. Beat him, take back the map, and discover this last level, which is the secret island, where the treasure's meant to be. Yeah, this game left me feeling majorly frustrated. Most of this game really feels like it can only be achieved through trial and error, and it feels like to me the developers knew this, because the levels are split up in a way that if you die, you don't go straight back. The split levels act sort of as a checkpoint in a sense, but that doesn't take away from the overall annoyance of the game, because if I'm having trouble in one section, how far I'm sent back won't make a difference to my experience. It helps to shave off time for sure, but let's say I get to the end of this section and die, I still have to start at the beginning of that section anyway. Not that this game is difficult to learn, but again, it feels like you're learning through trial and error, which is not the experience I'm looking for when trying to figure out how a game works. Like here, in the room with the different symbols. Keep that paper ready because you'll need to learn what that right format is, but because you get thrown right into the thick of things, you're not given the adequate time to respond, and if this is being aimed towards a younger audience, I can see this being very overwhelming for them at first. I'll admit my first instinct told me to climb out as fast as I can, but that wasn't right, so I remembered that paper, saw the symbols on the floor, eventually tried to land on the platforms and died, until I eventually worked out that you have to jump on the blocks to make them sink. However, it's all solved now, we can keep moving. Now I'll just shoot through the controls because they're very easy to understand. Left and right, down to duck, C to jump, B to shoot, and A is actually the run button. Now this button actually helps to get through tight platforming sections where you need that reach to get by, but also if you start walking while holding down A, Donald scoots himself along quickly before resuming normal running animation. It's kind of adorable, I have to admit. To slide in these narrow sections, press down an A and you can glide along, but be careful, you'll run into hazards. Thankfully you can steer yourself out of trouble if you need to in a nick of time. There's a lot more motion in Donald's movement when jumping from platform to platform, but it's not as elegant as Castle of Illusion, as I've already said. I mean, generally, in terms of control, in Castle, you glide along the game, whereas here, it sort of feels like you're chugging along, so just as a warning, keep on your feet. I will say, the music is very pleasant to listen to. It's not as memorable as Castle of Illusion, but I still think it's perfect for what the game is looking to accomplish. There's easy listening music for open areas of the levels, fast-paced energetic music for the zipline section and the minecart, gloomy yet suspenseful type music for the cave and pyramid levels, spooky music for Transylvania, and frantic music for the boss fights. They all fit the levels appropriately. As for the sound effects, admittedly, they're kind of basic. They're not bad or anything, but they're really basic and not memorable at all. It's a good thing the music is memorable. They are appropriate sounds for what is going on, like the jump, the shooting and whatnot, but for Disney I expected a bit more of a dazzle to the sounds. I don't think to myself, wow, that's popping sound, really pop! I think some of them are way too quiet as well. And once again, I gotta compare it to Castle of Illusion, where the sound effects are just sublime. The graphics, however, are pretty good. Once again, everything here looks really visually appealing. It looks more to me that the extra attention was put into the characters, which is probably why they're bigger in the game. But the payoff is the detail really shines, and for the game's pace it works well. Mexico looks visually stunning as well, and I love the transition between sunrise and sunset as well. There is more of a shaded element to the backgrounds as well. The colours may not be totally stretched out, but with the limitations they gave themselves, they found a way to make everything easy on the eyes in terms of colours and visuals. Nothing here is glaring, well, except for the menu screen, but since it's a minor part of the game, I'll let that slide. I do like the look of this game a lot, and that's what kept me here to try and beat it. Everything looks good here, so good job. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag really, and I will admit I had my own moments of frustration, but even though I had difficulty getting through this game, I said to myself I wasn't going to be biased, so I will acknowledge that this game is good. You know, strangely enough, in its essence, this game almost perfectly resembles the hardships of Donald Duck with how much that I had to go through with this. It's not the best game I've ever played, and I probably won't return to it again and again and again, but I could see myself at least maybe trying it once or twice again if I want to maybe perfect it for a challenge or something. And I even managed to make it to the end. Totally legit, with no save states at all, guys, I promise, so you can't criticize me, okay? So let's return home and give Daisy her present. Really? That's her reaction? Really?
You know what, Daisy? You ungrateful pekin. I put so much of my rage, frustration, and anger aside for you, so that I could get you something more valuable than diamonds itself, so that you could swarm Donald with love and admiration, not with your pompous attitude. And now it's broken. Wait, what's that inside the statue? A necklace? And she likes it? Fair enough.
Okay, so overall, what do I rate this game? Well, I had to really think long and hard about this fairly, so here are the individual scores on the screen. Story, 8 out of 10. Gameplay, 6 out of 10. Controls, 8 out of 10. Audio, 7 out of 10. And graphics, 8 out of 10. Calculated together, this game gets a final score of 7 out of 10.
Oh, the Mega Drive's working again. Wait a minute. Well, if you can't beat them, join them.